frame me in a picture. Sharpie horns on my head.
Looks like we didn't have an intro today.
Every room was like
just,
a
you know what? Today's just...
They repeat what they were fed. Yeah, I'm walking through the whisper. Let them burn me in their tails. I keep receipts in my ribcage. Every scar, every DD. Call me the villain. Paint me in black. Blame every crack in your heart on my back. But when the curtains falling and every mask is gone, you'll see the villain was the hero all along. Yeah, I'm the villain. I'm the hero all along.
Well. Here we are on this fine Thursday. Yes, I think I switched a few things up with my video, and here I am, and you see my face and I guess my fat body and whatever the case may be. Got me some water down here. Yeah, I'll drink that in just a few. But today, what are we going to talk about? There's so much to talk about. You can talk about, I think his name is Nolan Wells down in Texas. You can talk about all these different things. The Carmelo Anthony case with that. But we're going to talk about Chicago and the team takeovers. Team takeovers are something else. Well, the teams pretty much, they get together and they have a whole party, with themselves. And there was, you got the side shows where they block off traffic and they do donuts in the middle of the intersection. You got the team takeovers where they go to a block and they just all stand around and party or whatever. There was a team takeover right in front of my house, and I'm gonna pull up that video. I'm gonna show y'all a few things that they were doing, and of course, there was a whole lot of fucking twerking going on. I know. Now I must be wrong, because who doesn't want to see twerking, right? No, not in front of my house. If I want to see twerking, I'll go to a strip club. But no. They had it blocked off. I was just coming home and bringing my son home. And guess what? There was car after car after car. I'm like, somebody having a party or something? They actually were. And I think they actually put it to where it was, they advertised it as a party. And it said BYOB, 16 and up, BYOB. That should be a red flag right then and there. But, I mean, maybe 16-year-olds are drinking nowadays. I don't know. But let's bring in Joe.
Hey, what's going on, Joe? I'm doing well.
Well, thank you for being here. After I get frustrated because I couldn't upload my videos and everything. And I'm pretty sure, you had some choice words for me and told me that I was a PUSS,
That's not true. I didn't say anything.
Oh, you didn't say anything just yet, but it'll be coming.
No, I'll talk about it later for sure. Weeks. I'll talk about it for weeks.
Yeah. But yeah, I think we had this discussion before a few times when we talked about team takeovers, or we talked about unruly kids that will whether they defy their parents, whether they go out and party and all these other things. And one thing to take a note: these team takeovers is another way to defy parents' orders and anything like that. What do you think about it, and what have you heard about these team takeovers?
Well, I mean, I hear about the team takeovers. I've heard people talk about different things. Some are like, hey, we need to arrest them and treat them as criminals. I just don't feel that way about young people. I think that's the wrong time to be putting criminal records on them that are going to last their entire life, when in 5 years they won't be the same person they are now. But I do blame the parents. My parents always knew where I was at. I mean, I'd be somewhere I didn't think they would know, and the phone would ring. It'd be my damn mother or father. But in today's age, with my children, I know where my oldest daughter is at all times. I can pick up my phone and I can see that. I think parents need to be held responsible. A lot of people may not like to hear that, but they're your kids. They're not mine. They're your kids. You're responsible for them, and I think that legally, they should be held responsible. If your kids don't go to school because your public school is going to suffer, if your kid doesn't go to school enough, and the public school is going to suffer financial withholding because your kid's ass is not in the seat enough, they'll put you in jail as a parent. So I don't know why we can't do the same thing if you can't control your kids at 11 o'clock at night.
Well, yes, of course. One of the things that boggles my mind is just looking at being out. And it's one thing to be out, after hours, and then now they have curfews. And Georgia has, I think, Atlanta, I want to say, I don't know about the whole state, but I know Atlanta came down and dropped a hammer and said that if you can't get a hold of your children, then we're going to fine you. And I can agree to that.
I think this is right. I do.
Yeah, I can agree to that at a certain point. I think not an indigent child, but if you have a child that's going to be defiant, you try to lock them in the house, you try to do all these different things. What could be the remedy of that? You're trying, as a parent, you're trying to actually get your child under control. What would be a remedy for that? Someone that is trying.
They still get cited. They go to court and they convince the judge that, hey, I'm doing everything I can, but I'm just not successful. And then we deem the child in need of supervision. You put the state in their life then. No one's going to enjoy that after it happens. No. But I think that's what you do. I don't know if there's anything else you can do.
Mm-hmm. It's not like the I guess government officials can move into your house and then see what your parenting style is like, anything like that. But it still goes down to the fact that, hey, you have to, take control of your child, because they're one thing is they're out here damaging cars.
They're your kids. They're not mine. They're your kids. You're responsible for them. We don't want the government to come in and say, take our parental rights away. Right. Mm-hmm. I'll stand against that.
They tried in California.
Parental rights, and I'm also responsible for what happens with my kids.
Mm-hmm. When you said that parental rights, and I always said that, look at California, because California was trying to make it to where, I guess if you were trans, you didn't have to tell your parents. If you tell your teacher, that they don't have to tell your parents. And I think that takes away your parental right to say, hell no, we won't support that. And the parents have the right to say that. And so, just looking at it, it's like California's trying to do it. And that's my hang up. That's my problem, right? That's my in between is what I'm looking at. When you get the government involved in your life or your children's life, that always takes a turn, right? I won't say always, but just about it always takes a turn to where, now I understand, hit their wallets. Mr. Mayhem is right, hit their wallets. But then you look at the fact that, where you have government, and like California did with that. Now just take that and try and magnify that with everything that's going on in Chicago.
I mean, I don't know how to magnify that. It doesn't seem like there's a lot of parental responsibility for the children that are out at 12 midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning. Yeah. And you don't know where your children are at. I think that's a failure to supervise someone who's under the age of, say, 16 for sure.
Mm-hmm. You all right? Let me type this in, and I can't bring it all up. Did you get those on X?
I haven't gotten anything. No.
Let me see. X. I'm pretty sure X.
You might try to send them email. Are they just links?
No, they're actual videos.
All right.
Not sent. Try sending again. Processing. Everything is moving slow. You know what? Fuck it. But, and it was surprised to come home and guess what I found? Like I said, I said it in the yard. I came home and all of a sudden, well, they were in the yard. They were twerking in the yard.
I'd be shocked too if I come home.
Picking my son up.
Saw that.
Oh, it was a whole row of cars all the way down my block, whole row of cars, kids walking everywhere. Either they were kids or young adults, whatever you want to call it, 18, 19, 20, whatever, and 16, but they advertise it for 16-year-olds, right? They advertise it for 16-year-olds, and they said BYOB, which is still crazy to me. Let me see if I can pick this up.
Now, I'll be honest, I was drinking at 15 and 16. I mean, we went to pasture parties so that we did kind of the same things, but we weren't destroying property. And if our parents found out, there was hell to pay. I just don't think there's hell to pay now. You know, Steven says some adults can't even run their own lives. We have a solution for that. If you don't pay your traffic ticket, they'll put you in jail. If you don't pay your light bill, they'll turn your lights off. Eventually you'll learn, or you'll pay the consequences for not running your own life. We need to look, if your kids come in front of my house and they disturb my peace or they destroy my property, that's not my problem. That's your problem because they're your kids. If my kids do it, they'll be my problem.
You're 100% right. You are 100% right. And that's another thing, because how can I say, there's so many kids that's out there. They jumping on top of cars, and then when they jump on the cars, they dent the cars, they dent the hoods, they break the windows, they do all stuff. And there was a couple in 2023, which I hope to pull up. They were attacked, and you know, one of I guess some of the guys they bumped into him and his girlfriend, and bumped into him. Bumped into the girlfriend. She said something about it. He said something about it. They jumped him, kind of pushed her out the way a little bit, but yeah, they worked a number on that kid, and he's still, you know, standing tall, walking and talking to everyone. But you know, it was something to be said that, you know, they're not being nice. And it was a teen takeover to where there was a mass shooting here in Chicago. And you know, the mayor and everyone else, they're saying, well, we need resources, we need programs. I know, honestly, I don't think the programs would fucking work, but go ahead.
Well, it seems like that's all you guys need in Chicago is to give your city more money. They'll fix all your problems. They just need more money. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, they
how much you should write a letter. How much money is it going to take to get these potholes off my street? I'll write you a check if you can, but I'd like to get these potholes fixed if you can find a way to do that. If I give you more money, will you fix the potholes? Man.
They the potholes, I think they had an app one time with the potholes where they would locate the potholes and tell people, hey, you know, kind of avoid this or look out for it. But it was just crazy because it was so many that, you know, but the state is still broke. The city's still broke, even though the mayor's saying, well, we balanced the budget. Okay, you balanced the budget. I don't see that. And so now they talking about they need resources and everything for these kids, but they don't have any money to actually give these kids.
If they had the money, what would you do? What money could you spend to make parents be better parents?
I don't think there's one you could spend. I really don't think there's one you could spend.
I mean, and I've heard this all my life, right? We need community centers to give the children something to do, right? Maybe, but you typically find that when they put these facilities together, that's where you have a bunch of BS going on. I just don't think that's the answer. I think there's nothing that's going to take over the role of the parent. It's got to be parents. There's no other way. And I would say that your parents were the most influential figure in your life, same as my parents were. And if my parents caught me at a street takeover, if I was just there and they found out 3 days later, there'd be hell to pay, and I wouldn't be at another one. 100%. I wouldn't be at a second. And I just don't think we're seeing that with parents today.
No. Let me see if I can find. Just nothing is working for me today. You know what? And I'll try to get ready early today. Trying to get, you know, ahead of things, and nothing. And it's like time just rolls right by you. but maybe I can pull it up and I can read it. But my wife sent it to me. What is that? Nope, not that one. But how was your well, what you got planned this weekend? Not how was your weekend? What you got planned this weekend?
Yeah, I'm going to take a pretty easy weekend. Nothing really planned. Check this out. They got 6 arrest warrants in Clearwater for kids that for a street takeover. Check this out. Or you need to put it up, I guess. There we go.
Clearwater police say weeks of investigations have now led to several arrests connected to a teen takeover turned shooting on Clearwater Beach.
This comes after videos captured large fights and crowds running through the beach area at the end of May. 8 on your side's Jenna Bass joins us live from Clearwater Police with what we know. Good morning.
Good morning. Yeah, those videos that you're talking about, they quickly spread online and sparked outrage over these so-called teen takeovers. But now Clearwater police are saying they have issued several arrest warrants, including for one adult that spans across several counties. Police say 2 juveniles are already in custody, including the teen who was shot during the chaos. Investigators say he was also involved in the rioting. The adult suspect has been identified as 18-year-old Nigel Charlique Carlston of Valrico.
Some of those people who gathered decided to break the law. We had other reports of large crowds that had gathered in other locations and were creating a disturbance.
Officers are continuing their search for the remaining 4 juvenile suspects with the help of neighboring agencies. The takeover sending innocent beachgoers scrambling for safety.
You know, we see teenagers with their families, but not just hundreds of unsupervised teenagers. The whole beach was packed with teenagers.
Since then, we've seen multiple other teen takeovers and rumored meetups met with swift response from law enforcement agencies as they work to crack down on the growing disturbing trend.
We have invested in some new software for social media monitoring that will help us have a wider scope of what we are seeing that's out there. And that new software, is we're beginning to implement that now, will help us identify more of these things probably more quickly.
Some visitors who were there during the Clearwater Beach teen takeover tell us they're happy police are holding the teens responsible.
Definitely should be held to some kind of accountability, you know, because they're causing ruckuses, you know, and destroying property and starting fights and stuff like that. It's just not okay.
Now, again, Clearwater police have issued a total of 6 arrest warrants, and we're told they're actively working with other agencies, specifically in Pasco, in Hillsborough, and Polk County for those 4 remaining suspects to bring them into custody. We'll continue to bring you updated on anything, any new information that we receive, of course, on air and online, WFLA.com. For now, we're live out in Clearwater. Jenna Bass, 8 on your side.
Clearwater police say weeks of investigation.
Well, yes, Texas handled that shit.
Well,
Texas handled that shit.
That was Florida, I think. That wasn't Texas. It was Florida. But see what you heard
Florida,
there.
Florida's no, but,
go ahead.
No. You got it, because I was just going to agree with you.
I'm just saying what you heard from the people that, yeah, hold those teenagers accountable, but legally, juveniles are not accountable for their actions. I mean, even if we charge in most states, if a juvenile is charged with a crime, it's really a civil action where they can go to juvenile or something like that, but then their record is sealed, because we understand that children are just growing up. Their minds aren't they're not fully responsible for themselves. But the piece of the equation that's always missed in this, when we talk about unruly kids, we're the parents. I can get on my phone and find my children. I can track them. Every one of them have one. Parents are paying for it, right? Their teen takeover stuff, they pay for the phone. But no one wants to hold the parents responsible, as if, well, I can't control it's your damn job. It's your job. If you can't control them, what's the state going to do? The state's going to take them into custody and warehouse them like animals. It's cruel if you don't raise your children, in my opinion. Because if you don't teach them, eventually the state will, and they'll do it in a way that's going to last a lifetime. I just disagree with that altogether. Hold parents responsible, but even if it's by civil fine, you don't pay your fine, we'll put you in jail. But I promise you, for a lot of parents, If their kid come home and said I was in the street takeover, they wag their finger and say something. If the kid come home with a piece of paper saying the parents owed $500, they'll do something about that. They'll do something about having to pay $500 for their kid, them not knowing where their kid's at. I'm just saying.
Let me welcome P. Ray to the stage. Hey, what's up,
Not
P. Ray?
not the P. Ray.
Here I am. Good
Yeah, you broke up a little bit.
Hello?
Yes. How you doing?
Yes. Good evening, gentlemen. I'm doing well in yourselves.
Doing well. Good to see you, P. Ray.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I heard you
Oh.
guys talking about the team takeovers. This is the thing. If you make the parents pay $500, how do you enforce payment?
Just like you do a traffic ticket, get a warrant for your arrest. Next time you
So
get
this
pulled
is
over and go to jail.
they don't lock people up here. You can rape children and not get locked in Cook County Jail. You can shoot people and not get locked in Cook County Jail. You could do all kind of stuff and not get locked up in Cook County Jail. So I don't think that they're going to lock up parents for failure to pay a fine, because they would say that that is being discriminatory on poor and blah 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 blah. I think that the solution is just like when we were teenagers. One, if they're having these street parties, because Chicago does have street parties. Okay, this is Chicago culture. I'm sure right now there are several parties happening on sidewalks across Chicago. People come outside when it's hot. However, if you are at the party and you are acting up, you get a ride in the back of the paddy wagon to the districts on the other side of town, and now your parents have to come pick you up. And then when they come pick you up, we can make them pay a municipal. But I don't think it's going to work for a ticket. All of the teenagers.
Well, if you go ahead, Joe.
Obviously, if you can't put criminals in jail in Cook County, that's a whole nother problem.
Well, this is what I've been saying the whole time. We have Operation New Dawn, sponsored by President Donald John Trump Sr., that has now brought federal law enforcement to Cook County in order to give us the justice that our President Trump. However, the issue is that the reason that these parties are so out of control.
I don't know if it's just me, but I'm not catching what she's saying.
No, P. Ray, you going
Did
in
you
and
hear
out.
me? Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Let me take you off of this car phone. Give me one moment. One moment,
Yeah,
gentlemen.
the last thing that you said was I think the reason why they're getting out of control. And that's all we heard. But I was going to bring that up because even on the west side, well, for us, first and foremost, we had the circle. Here she is. Yeah, first and foremost, we had the circle. We used to go to it was this thing. I saw Garfield Park is a big old circle. Everybody going there, they used to party. And that's kind of where we used to keep our parties at. We had house parties. We had, like you said, I'm not gonna lie, we had sidewalk culture where you would kick it out in the streets or on the sidewalk. But now it's becoming to a point where these kids are shooting each other. I don't know any reports of sexual assault, but I know that they're shooting at each other.
But
There's fights to
if
break
you're shooting people, mass shootings, mass shootings definitely need to become a crime in the state of Illinois. If you shoot into a crowd of people, let's say 4 or more people, that's a mass shooting, and you get an automatic 15 years. That's what's going to be the deterrent. But when we talk about the backyard parties, think about the number of families who lost their houses during the Democrat subprime crisis that was orchestrated specifically to take houses away from Black people in this country. So all the backyards that used to exist when we were children are not there anymore. I'm not making excuses for these children at all. I'm actually saying lock up the degenerates. The degenerates must go to jail every time. If you're shooting out there, if you're fighting out there, if you're like I watched a video of one, they threw a cooler and hit the police in the head over the back porch. Who does that? And why wasn't somebody locked up for that? That is a problem. That has nothing to do with the party. That has nothing to do with the fiesta. That's you choosing to be a degenerate. And if that's how you want to behave, you have to be removed from the society.
Yeah. Then it was 2023. Me and Joe talked about it a little bit earlier. It was 2023 where that crowd had jumped that couple. Do you remember that, P. Ray?
I'm sorry, these guys are
With
just
us.
going by being obnoxious with their bikes. Can you say it again?
I said, remember 2023? There was a couple that was jumped. I think downtown Chicago, they had an Airbnb and whatnot, and then they were walking back to their Airbnb. And
Oh
all of a
yeah,
sudden,
yeah, I remember that. And they beat them
they
up. That's a robbery. You know, that's robbery. That is aggravated assault. You need to go to jail. Do you know that a 15-year-old boy murdered the mail lady while she was on her route, and they only gave him 5 years in the juvenile detention
oh
system?
yes,
You can kill the mail lady in Cook County and
yes.
get 5 years. So when we talk about what the children are doing, it's just a symptom of the overall piss poor justice system. And friends, I want you to remember that the children have been watching the adults go downtown and riot since 2020. Think about it. If you're 17 right now, 2020 was 6 years ago. So when you were 11 years old, you were watching adults go downtown and jump on cars and set things on fire, and nothing happened to them. So now this is normal for you. You know, I think that
Yeah.
we spend a lot of time talking about the children and not enough time about the adults that got us into this situation.
Yeah, and but that's kind of what we brought up though. That's what me and Joe was talking about, that the parents have to be fined about it. Now the parents, now even more with the example that they did set. Yes, I get exactly what you're saying with that. I can agree with that. But then I also have to look at, what's going on at home. What we have so much technology nowadays. How do you not know where your child is at? What's that app? 360? That
No,
tells
you
you,
can
was that
just put
Apple has its
track.
own little thing.
Yeah, I track my daughter through Find My Phone on Apple. But see, again, parents know that their children are going to these parties, right? They'll say, okay, this is the flyer. I'm going to go to the party at the park. Okay, get out the house, because the parents are like, okay, the children were not socialized and they have poor social skills, blah, blah, blah. Let them go outside. And then when you get outside, that's where all this degeneracy happens. So if you are engaged in debauchery and degeneracy, you need to be locked up in a district or on the other side of town. Your mom needs to press 0 to accept the charges, and they need to come pick you up. That's it. That's how you solve this. But right now, there's absolutely no consequence for their behavior. And that's why we're here.
Yeah. There is no consequence. Joe, you got anything you want to say? Or did you step away? You might have stepped away. But yeah, I was telling Joe earlier, I came home, right? Came home and there was a row of cars all up and down my street. All up and down. Row of cars. And I'm like, what is going on? Me and my son pulling up. You got people hopping out of cars, walking down to another street, because I think they advertised it was a party. And they got out of it. So then the police came and broke the party up. It was like, y'all got to leave. They were very defiant. I got into it with a young lady because I walked outside. And she telling the police officers, "Ooh, on that dog. Like, get the dog. Like, get that dog." And I'm like, well, they wouldn't need the dog if y'all wasn't out here. We could be the fuck out here. I said, who the fuck are you talking to? I said, that's one of the problems is I pay the mortgage here. So I don't want to have to deal with this shit. Y'all can take that shit back to the city. Y'all can take that shit where the fuck y'all came from. Not to say that they came from the city. I think they came from other south suburbs. But it was just, and then I walk outside to see beer cans in my front yard. I don't know if you call Monaco beer can, but hey, that's a drinking can, whatever.
Liquor
beer can.
coolers. Yeah.
Be ready. Did you really just say it? Well, go ahead.
Well, that's what they're called, liquor coolers. But
I thought you said something else.
No, liquor coolers. Oh my God, stop being mannish.
No. You said the N word. I was like, hold on.
No, liquor. They're the liquor coolers.
Okay.
They're coolers, but they have like heavy liquor in them. But man, you're so funny. But no, like I said, it's a number of things that is happening here. Number one, two everybody's point that lives in Chicago, they don't have places to gather. Okay, we used to have the juke parties. You can go in there and you can juke until you sweat, and then 12 o'clock, everybody knows you got to be in the house. Right, 12:30, you better be in the house because the police are going to come by and you're going to get scooped up for curfew. They're not scooping people up for curfew anymore. Okay, then we have the fact that again they think that they can do what they want to. They have something over here on the west side called Club 290, and that's where they have these street parties on Hamlin and Maypole, where they just had this thing on the 4th of July and all those people got shot. Do you know that people will stay in Club 290 until 6 o'clock in the morning? People are going to work, and they still out there getting drunk and dancing and doing all kind of stuff. No, there are no boundaries. You can't do that when the sun is up. That's not sun up behavior, right? And these are the adults, because the people that they were showing, I said all of them need to be getting somebody up for school right now and making some pancakes. But they're not doing that because they have neglected their roles as parents. So I think too that if you catch these people outside, at what point do we start charging people with child neglect? Maybe that's the solution.
When their kids are out at 1 o'clock in the morning destroying and jumping on cars, I think that's a good place to start as a child in need of supervision. Hold parents responsible. I do think that.
Yes. Yeah, I think that's a great thing. You know, if your child is out after curfew, you risk being charged with child neglect, and we're going to remove all the children from your household. That's going to get some people's attention. Much more than, charging them a fine, because nobody wants the Illinois Department of Children and Family Services in their business, because it's hard to get them out. So,
my mother used to say about DCFS?
What?
My mother used to call it DCFS, dead children for sure.
Yeah.
She said DCFS would take you from one home and put you in a more fucked up home.
Yeah.
And I say, well, I kind of have to agree, mother.
Yeah,
a mother like that doesn't have children running around in the street takeover.
Correct.
Because that mother's got control of her children.
Yeah, I mean, again, I totally agree with that. I totally agree. But maybe, we can do some stuff on a state level so that the state legislature can expand the definition of child neglect. And if your minor child, your 12-year-old is out at 1 o'clock in the morning, yeah, we're going to send DCFS to your house. And we're going to look at every room and see if you are a competent parent. And if you're not, now we have to have a different conversation. I bet people keep their children in the house then. I bet curfew is going to be respected.
What about in Illinois? Do they have like a truancy law? If your kid doesn't go to school, misses too many days of school, they can cite the parent, require the parent to come to court and fine them?
No, we don't have that.
We have that in Texas, and they'll have that if this public school district is going to lose some federal money or some state funding because your kid didn't attend enough school. They'll put a fine on you and drag your butt to court as a parent to make sure that's resolved. I think we should do the same thing. Parents are responsible for children first and foremost, in my opinion, when you start holding them responsible.
Yeah. Hey, something has to give. But I just know that my main goal is to lock up the degenerates and make sure that curfew is respected.
When you say degenerates, so are we talking about 15, 16-year-old kids?
Yeah, you can be 12. You can be 12 or you can be 82. If you are a degenerate on the streets of Chicago, you have to be removed from the society because you're impeding on my freedom.
I don't know if I disagree, maybe some sort of supervision and control, but I will say that I am nowhere near the same person I was at 25, much less the same person I was at 15 or 16. I just don't know if that's the time we start holding people responsible.
No, not forever.
But the charge stays forever. If we charge them, the charge stays forever.
If you decide that you're going to put your Nikes on the hood of my car and walk up my car and jump on top of my car, you need a charge.
Yeah, and your parents need to pay for my car. Your parents need to pay for my car.
Not only are your parents going to pay for my car, but you're also going to go spend some time with Cook County because you knew good and well that your feet don't belong on my car. Mm-hmm. And the fact that you did not realize that was not okay means that your household is not teaching you this. And therefore, you got to go spend some time with Cook County. Let Cook County help you remember that feet belong on the ground. One thing I'll say about my family, and I know every family has their issue. But within my first cousins in our little circle, none of us have been to jail because we got whoopings, real live, real time consequences for what you did. If you go to jail, they will say, if you go to jail, your ass gonna be in there because nobody coming to get you. They're gonna feed you bologna sandwiches. You're gonna be very unhappy. Don't do it. And therefore, we did not do it. We have to have those same type of strong consequences for these children. You shoot into a crowd, you think that you're gonna that you're in Grand Theft Auto and you're gonna go into this crowd and shoot everyone. No, now you have to be removed from the society. It's a privilege to live in a free country, and if you don't take that privilege seriously, we have a space for you to go to.
I agree. We had a saying in the Army about folks that couldn't get along with the system. They couldn't follow rules, and they were always with excuses. We said that they didn't have any home racing because that's what you learn at home. Nobody else can teach it to you. You learn it at home, and parents are responsible, in my opinion, of teaching that.
All right, let's take a look at this right quick and tell me if y'all believe this. Can y'all hear that?
No audio.
All right, let me check this audio. I'll probably read the case. Give me a minute. I'm ready. But you heard about the 16-year-old that was arrested?
Which 16-year-old?
No, not 16. I think he was 18. He was a college
Oh yeah,
football
for being
star.
indignant with the police.
Mm-hmm.
All of this stuff, guys, that's the problem. They've been empowered to be degenerate over the past 6 years since Black Lives Matter and the George Floyd riots. It's been nothing but chaos and debauchery on the street toward the police.
Well, listen to this right quick.
Fireworks lit up the night sky in Douglas Park, but on the ground, chaos was unfolding. During the July 4th teen takeover in the 1300 block of South Fairfield Avenue, Chicago police say some people were firing fireworks at officers as they tried to break up the massive crowd. Amid the confusion, 19-year-old Quotangelo Temple says he wasn't there for the takeover, but was treated like it.
Basically just threatening us, telling us they were going to take us to jail, pulling out their sticks, telling us go before they put us in jail, and just cursing at us.
His face hidden because of his visible injuries. The Chicago native and linebacker at an Iowa community college says he was here for one reason only: to convince his 16-year-old brother to leave, but instead had an encounter with Chicago police.
Pushed me in the middle of the street, and then I turned around, and then I said, can you stop putting your hands on me?
What made you come get your brother? What was it that made you say, I need to get my brother off of this block?
Yeah, because we don't hang on this block. We always grew up to not hang around, gangbang and stuff like that. And teen takeovers, we seen what happened with the last one.
Moments later, Temple says his plan to get his brother home.
We invited passionate soccer fans to push Nissan vehicles to the limit, just like they.
Well, there you have it. All right. Well,
I mean, I don't know.
Well,
You fight with the police, you might get bumped.
So everybody out there partying and shaking ass, and he the only one saying, come on, we gotta go. It's time for us to go in the house. You believe that?
Go ahead, Joe. Go ahead, Joe.
You believe that?
No, I'm with P. Ray. I don't believe it. And law enforcement give you directives. You should follow that. How about now?
I can hear you, Joe. No, I can hear you.
How about now? Mic check 1 2 3 1 2 3. Good.
Yeah, I can hear you. We're good.
No, I don't buy the fact that
because I can't hear him at all.
Okay.
I don't believe it was the fact that I'm there trying to get my brother out and they just jumped on me and beat me up. That's just not the case.
Well, even more. Let's just say that is the case. Let's just say it is. Let's go with it, right? How are they supposed to know that you're there to get your brother It's ruckus. It's fireworks going off. You can't tell fireworks. Sometimes you can't tell fireworks from gunshots. So you have to keep your head on the swivel to see who's doing what. There could be fighting. There could be someone else cussing at you, yelling at you. There could be all type of ruckus that's going on. How are you supposed to be able to tell that, oh, this guy's here looking for his brother? Oh, he's 19. He looks like he's a teenager. Oh, he's 19. No. The bad part about it is you should have stayed your ass home. And when your brother got home, maybe you should have kicked his ass because you're going to try and make me go out there, or I'm going to go out there and go after you. And you out there want to go out there and do stupid shit. No, maybe you should have kicked your little brother's ass.
With all due respect, Mr. Brooks, I don't believe none of that. I believe that he had an altercation with the police. I believe that we could see it. But
No, I
all
believe
that,
it.
I was,
I'm just
I
saying the
was
devil's
pulling my
advocate.
brother arm array, and I was saying, "Come on, bro, we gotta get out of here. It's time to go. Mama gonna be mad. Come on, no, it's the 4th of July. You home from the summer from your little Iowa community college. You went to the party with your brother. Y'all got dressed and went together. This is the west side of Chicago. Who are you talking to? Now, should the police have beat him like that? Absolutely not. And I'm sure that the city of Chicago will settle with him for thousands of our tax dollars. Okay, he has a check coming. However, the bigger issue here again is that the children are out there fighting the police because this is what they've been trained to do for the past 6 years.
Mm-hmm.
This is what they've taught. If the police say something, you ask them for a warrant, and you tell them you have no right to tell me what to do, and you can't touch me because this is a this, and I'm a this, and you're a that. No, no, honey, it's time to go. You saw them out there fighting. You saw it.
Mm-hmm.
You know that once that starts, it's time to go. But you know something else the Chicago Police Department can go out there and do really quickly? Curfew enforcement. Make everybody take their ID out. Everybody got an ID. Contrary to what the Democrats
You go.
say,
You bring it.
Whoa. Talking
yeah,
crazy here.
yeah.
No, those black folks don't have IDs. You
I
can't
was about
hold
to
them
say
responsible for that.
contrary to what the Democrats may say, every black child over the age of 15 in the city of Chicago has an ID card. It's something that you do. Your mom says, today it's time for you to go get an ID, okay? It's a rite of passage. So if we catch you outside, you got to pull your ID. And if you don't have your ID or what have you, you get in this paddy wagon and you got to go across town. Call somebody to come get you. Like, this is how Chicago used to work, and that's why things were crazy. Like, we had a lot of gang banging and drug dealing and all that kind of stuff, but this level of debauchery and disrespect from children didn't happen because there were direct consequences for that. So yeah, I'm going to start pushing for curfew enforcement. Yep, they got free IDs in the city of Chicago. Your mom can't get you an ID, go get yourself a city key card to show us that you're 18. But if you're 18, you should have an ID because you're so excited to be 18 and now you can buy all your 18-year-old stuff, right? We all know that. When you
Mm-hmm.
know. So yeah, all 18-year-olds have an ID. And if you don't have
Well,
one, you go into the station.
what amendment is that? What would you run into? What would the problems you would be that you would run into to where you're going back to stop and frisk?
Well,
Think
yeah, they
about
would say that is stop and frisk.
It's
Definitely.
not. If
Well, no,
if
what I'm
there's a
saying, that's
curfew,
what
if
they'll
there's a
say.
curfew and you're violating it, that's not an unsolicited stop at that point. That's constructive custody because they believe you committed a crime.
Oh, thanks, Joe. Yeah, because I was going to say they might say it's like a Fourth Amendment
It's
violation or
not.
something like that. Then voila,
it.
that's
No,
what it is. That's what we
you
want in
have to ask them.
Chicago, curfew
People need to know
enforcement.
that. Yeah, you need to know
Yeah, I'm
that.
going to
So,
play this back. I'm going to play this back, Joe, and then I'm going to get all of that verbiage, and I'm going to go to City Hall and say all of that, and say
Girl,
we don't want,
hit me up. Hit me up. I can put it all on paper for you. It's real easy.
Thank you.
mm-hmm.
Yeah, I truly need that because, like I said, certainly we already have a curfew on the books here in Chicago. And then people were mad. They're like, oh, we tried to do a curfew and the city council said, no, that's not what happened. They said that the police would be able to arbitrarily call for a curfew. So the kids could just be downtown. You may not even be at the teen takeover. You might just be at the movie theater. But because you're a teenager and you're downtown and they're acting up, now there's a snap curfew for 9:30 and everybody has to go in the house. No, we're not doing that to the children. So that's what they voted down. But the normal curfew is 11:30. in the city of Chicago for everybody under the age of 17. And then you get to be, 16 and under, I think it's 11:30. And then if you're 17, you get to stay out till 12 or something like that. But there's a curfew on the books. And yeah, let's start enforcing it. That's how we get the kids off the street. What? You breaking curfew in the car. Come on. And now when we get to this station all the way on 183rd or 123rd and Avenue X, way in the next corner of the city across the street from Indiana, then your mom's gonna have to get you, right? If she doesn't have a car, she's gonna have to get an Uber. That you're gonna take 2-3 expressways to get there.
Well,
She's
be right. I
huh?
gotta interrupt you because I gotta interrupt you. You gotta know that they don't even know what a computer is. Basically, what Kathy Hochul said in New York.
The governor of New York
Oh
said that.
yeah,
How
they
we
don't
say
even.
that's not true?
Yeah, so they don't have IDs or computers, but they do have
Mhm.
phones. So they do know how to tap on pictures. At least we're giving them that. But yeah, we're gonna take you to the other side of town for curfew violations. That's how that's gonna go now in the city of Chicago. I'm gonna really push for that, guys. I'm gonna go down there and lobby for this. This is a quick solution. That way you can at 12 o'clock, the kids are still outside, just start rolling the paddy wagons out. Time to go. And we're not taking you to the local station. Now your mama gotta get up and put her shoes on.
Well, how you gonna do that with the no chase policy?
So they can, I don't know. We have to look at what those policies. I thought they couldn't chase you like in their cars, but they could chase you on foot.
I think it does go that way, but then also it has to be a certain level of crime. If it's a murder, yeah, they can chase you. If I think a forcible felony. If it's something to where it's a curfew violation and the teens take off, I don't know if that's going to suffice, but it depends.
Well, we can figure that out.
Mhm.
That's super easy to do. We can see how we can get curfew enforcement in the city of Chicago. This is an ordinance. I'm just
Oh,
asking you
but
all to enforce
they
the
shot
rule
it
on the
down.
book.
Remember they
No,
shot it down.
no, no, honey. I just told you that was a different curfew. Right now, there's a curfew on the ordinance in the city of Chicago. If you are under 17, you cannot be outside after 11:30. That's
Mm,
still on the books. What they shot down was an arbitrary emergency curfew that could be called by any district commander. So,
mm,
like I said, any district commander in the city can say, "All right, you know what? It's time for all the kids to go in the house 9:30." Kids not
mm.
going in the house at 9:30. How you gonna do that? So they said, "No, we're not gonna go with that." But just to enforce
Well,
what's on the book, yeah, I'm telling you, we used to run home. Nobody wants to get curfewed.
yeah. I had to be at home during street lights. Well, when I became a teenager, it was a little bit different. But when the street lights came home, yes, my mother would come out there and yell. I don't know how it is. I don't know what parents do, but you would hear them probably 2 or 3 blocks away calling you to come home. It's
Yeah,
just
because you know your mom's voice.
yeah, you know your mom's voice, but then I'm 2 or 3 blocks away. Leave me alone. What's up, Rory? I see we do got someone over there on Facebook looking and whatnot. If you are, and you got any
Hi,
questions or you want
Facebook.
to say anything, yeah, we are on X, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. If you got any questions you want to, dull out, I know Facebook. Facebook is actually suppressing me. They are suppressing the shit out of. They suppress. I mean, there's many people that come and say comments on my stuff that they don't see the lives. They are suppressing. But let's check this out right quick. Let's look at this.
Neighbors tell me this block was filled with hundreds of people last night. It is a cul-de-sac. They tell me police were already here trying to clear the crowds before gunshots rang out.
I wouldn't even say this was a block party. Okay. This was a takeover.
Etta Johnson captured this video from her window. It shows what Maple Avenue near Garfield Park looked like on the night of July 4th.
Chaos, obstruction of living.
Johnson says a lot of the people she saw seemed underage. This video, captured by another neighbor, shows what appears to be teenagers in the crowd. One person holding what appears to be a shotgun with an orange tip. That usually signifies it's a toy or replica, not a real lethal weapon. Neighbors also capturing police trying to clear the street around 1 a.m.
The police were totally outnumbered. They were outnumbered last night.
We have a female shot.
By 1:25 in the morning, a 17-year-old girl was in critical condition after being shot in the chest on Maple Avenue, according to Chicago police. Less than 10 minutes later, they say 6 more people between 17 and 20 years old were also shot on Maple. They were all taken to hospitals in good condition.
Sad. Very sad.
We're told at one point, police began telling people to either leave or get arrested. One neighbor captured this video showing officers placing someone into custody.
My husband and my neighbor, we moved our cars because they were destroying cars over here. And if you didn't have a locked gate, they would come and sit on your porch.
3 separate neighbors told us people on this block are known to promote gatherings like this on social media.
They were here Juneteenth with the same mentality. Normally it's in August. They have some party for someone on the block. The last 3 years, we have been bombarded with this chaos.
Connie Mitchell has lived on Hamlin Boulevard for 30 years. Her doorbell camera capturing people crowded in front of her home.
If it's only getting worse, who's helping the residents who are pouring their heart and souls into this neighborhood?
She's a part of the Garfield Park Advisory Council and says she's been pushing for change in this area for years.
These kids, how can they work all night? You can give them jobs during the day. Where are they going to be at night?
The alderman and the mayor and the commander. We need help. We need serious help over here.
Neighbors tell me they're expecting more takeovers to happen here before the end of the summer. They say they're desperate for help and need city leaders to step in so there's some type of change. Reporting on the west side, I'm Asal Razai, CBS News Chicago.
All right, what do we think about that?
Joe, I'll let you go first.
Yeah, I just think I hear a bunch of people talking about the city and the government need to do something for me. When I'll say it again, parents are the solution for this. The state doesn't do anything well, much less raise our children or discipline them. But I think the state could get involved, honestly, and just hold parents responsible, whether that be with a curfew citation. If your child gets one, you got one too, because who's responsible for where your kid's at? It's not the state. It's not the neighbor. It's not this poor lady getting her property damaged. It's you. It's the parent. You're responsible for where your children are at all times.
Well, yeah. Go ahead, P. Ray. You was going to say something?
So these were adults. The people who got shot, the 17-year-old was the only child. The rest of them were adults. And this is Club 290, what I just told you guys about. That's Club 290. Now, that was a big party. I don't know if you guys heard her say, but somebody on that block organized that party. She said normally they do their party in August, but this year they did it for the 4th of July, and they did it for Juneteenth. So that means that they're having these big parties every month on Hamlin at Club 290, which, again, like Corey said, Club 290, that's where the circle is. So people have been doing this for years, but now that it's out of order because people don't have respect for people's property. Before, people could go to the park and party, but you wouldn't go and sit on somebody's porch. Like, who does that?
That's disrespectful.
That's what I'm saying. There's a level of disrespect that's here now. But I don't think, like, if adults are out there and they're the ones who are hosting the events, how do you make them stop?
Well, that is a good question. The adults now, if they're adults, they can go to jail, right? No.
Is hosting a street party in Chicago a crime? Is that a crime in the state of Illinois?
No.
In most states, you get disorderly conduct. Any breach of the peace, whether it's a party or not, is disorderly conduct.
Oh, no, you got to be out of control in Chicago to get a disorderly. When I say out of control, I mean out of control. Like, that's one of the hardest charges to get here.
So busting out the car windows and damaging people's property is not out of control enough for disorderly conduct? A Class C misdemeanor, the lowest crime there is? That's wild if that's true. That's wild if that's true.
Because it has that reputation, people believe that they don't have to respect the space anymore. So maybe we should do a respect campaign. Respect Chicago. Respect your neighbors. Respect the people who are paying property taxes or something like that. Because if you don't, you can't make adults stop doing what they're doing, especially if the laws aren't on the books to make them do it.
Wait a minute. Wait. Hold on. I get what you're saying about the campaign. if they don't respect Chicago, respect the streets, or respect any type of law and order, now what makes you think we're going to change that over?
We've made homosexuality acceptable. That showed me that we can do a campaign to do anything you want to do, okay? All you need is the right marketing team. And the city of Chicago can do that.
She's
I mean,
got
think
a
about
point.
it.
She got a point.
Yeah, like before it was like, don't ask, don't tell. You better not be that way. Now it's like, wear it out, baby. Do you, okay? So there you can we can do that. That's a marketing campaign. Respect Chicago, respect your neighbors, respect. Chicago has respect. That's the campaign. Or respect Chicago. That's the campaign. And then we promote that. And maybe then we could get a little more acts right on the street, because this is not the children not being watched. This is just pure disrespect. Disrespect. I could never imagine going to the circle to hang out with my little, 17, 18-year-old body and car and hair, and thinking that I am just it out there. Okay. After my high school graduation that night, my girlfriends and I went to the Cheesecake Factory on Michigan Avenue, and then we went to the circle, and I was out there in my graduation dress. You understand? So, like I said, I've lived this life. I've lived this life, but I just wouldn't have thought to open somebody's gate and go have a seat. Like
You know,
that's what's taking this too far.
a novel solution could be that the state of Illinois allow police officers to conduct an investigation and turn over to people who say you do property's damage, right? There's a street takeover and your car gets bashed, or they break something on your house. Allow the police to do an investigation to who the children are and or the adults, either way, whoever it was. But if it's a minor, to also the parents' information and be able to give that to you, so you can you can go to a small claims court and start suing people. If people are, look, if you're held responsible for your actions, you're going to think about your actions a bit more, especially if there's a consequence. You may not do it the first time, but you will the second time if there's a consequence. And I really believe that it's unfair for these homeowners that are paying property taxes. They keep their property up. They have their property destroyed because somebody's having a party. And then there's just nothing they can do after that, right? They don't know who it is. They don't have the resources to go do an investigation to figure out who broke out their windshield. But law enforcement actually does. And there is a way you could do that where the civil and criminal can't mix. But there's nothing to say that the state can't provide a free investigation to its citizens that have suffered monetary damage.
So let's take it. Let's actually listen to the kids and what they have to say at City Hall.
Oh God, please, let's hear that as quick as possible.
Yeah, this.
I care what the kids have to say. They're so bright and
One of the things that
wise.
he said that stuck out to us the most was that he said he feels young people are being targeted because of the actions of a violent few.
They label all teams as the bad teams because a group of teams decides to do something.
Demarion Span is from North Lawndale. He's been to Teen Trends before.
I went to North Riverside Mall before, and we were met with dogs. They would like bring the K9s out, and they would just chase us through the mall with the K9s. I mean, how would you expect someone to respond to that?
We are going to hear from several youth experts today, choosing to testify on behalf of Chicago's young people.
My goal is just to get city council to understand.
5 young people, including Span, from all different neighborhoods on the city's south and west sides, explained that the teens they know want a place they feel safe, which many times they say means somewhere outside of the parks and other locations in their own neighborhoods.
They took all the free spaces from us, and they expect us not to go to the beach or go downtown.
Today, we will begin. Alderwoman Jessie Fuentes said this will be the first conversation of many as they inch closer to tangible ideas.
Today's an opportunity for us to listen to the source. They are closest to the problem. They understand the solutions that they want from themselves. And I think for the first time, legislators should take a couple points from them.
So, Erica, today was a brainstorming session. Police were not there, but we're told will be roped in at some point. The goal here is to have some sort of proposal by the time budget talks begin for next year's budget. That will happen likely in the fall. So the city plans to pay for programs that teens actually want to go.
Yeah. All right. What do we think?
And for uncovering a critical failure. Our Marissa Perlman joins us now with more on the task force findings.
We'll get back to that. What the task force finding? I didn't see that one. They probably just went to another video. But what do we think about that one there?
Go ahead, P. Ray.
Why was he in the mall getting chased by a dog? That's not normal, friends. Okay, like nobody ever looks at and asks the real questions. Do you know how many times I've been to North Riverside Mall? Do you know how many times I've caught the bus to North Riverside Mall? Okay,
And
that's a
I grew up in
block.
Maywood, so I know all about North Riverside Mall.
You know that you could take the First Avenue bus or wherever you were down there to Cermak. As long as you can get to Cermak, you can catch the Cermak bus all the way to the mall, right? Have your day at the mall, get back on the Cermak bus, and go back to where you live, right? This is a known fact by everyone who lives on the west side in the western suburbs. You ever got chased by dogs at the mall?
Nope.
So what were you I'm gonna start asking real questions around here, okay? I wish I was at that event because that would have been my next question. I went to a similar event like this that was not held at City Hall. It was actually with the Chicago West Side branch NAACP. They had a group of teens in there. And you know what those teens said? We're not with those badass kids that's acting up and jumping on the cars and all that. We want them locked up too. We are the ones that are most in danger when they are around because they're shooting us. So how could you all be more offended by them than us? And that's when my whole mentality about this changed. And that's when I started saying, lock up the bad kids and leave the good kids alone. Because to that little boy's, to what he said, they did take away all the free spots. You can't drive to the beach now. Every beach in Chicago has a pay gate on it. So yeah, so they're telling the truth. You can't be in the park. Some parks close at 9 o'clock. Some parks close, when the sun goes down. So if your local park is closed at 8 or at sunset, where are you supposed to go? Oh, I'm going to go downtown. Come on, y'all. Everybody from the neighborhood, we can't hang in the park. Let's get on the bus and go downtown. Okay. So yes, that all makes sense. But if you go downtown and your night ends with dogs chasing you, what did you do for them to go get the dogs and let them go on you?
Well, but hold on, P. Ray. I'm gonna tell you what they did. They wouldn't, so they didn't want to comply. This happened right in front of my house. That's how I got into it with the girl. Remember, I said about the girl, and I said I paid a mortgage here. Y'all don't. Y'all over here messing shit up. Well, she got mad and talking about some. She was really trying to say, don't let that dog bite me. But if y'all ass wasn't out here, they wouldn't bite you, or they wouldn't have to break out the dogs. They would not leave. This is what the whole thing is. The police came. All right, you had your little party. Has your little fun, and y'all did y'all working out in the street and in my fucking front yard, right? They did all the stuff that you wanted to do. Now it's time to leave. The gig's up. The police is here. They actually had to call police from other municipalities to come get them. And then when they broke out the dog, then they started to kind of move around and everything else. But y'all didn't want to leave when the police asked y'all to leave in the first place. So now they take other measures, whether it scares you or not, whether you don't like it. Well, guess what? Every action has a reaction. Every action has a reaction, and they have to get this under control. This is what the police officers getting paid for. This is where our taxes are going. So then guess what? They're going to do anything by any means, get you all out of here because you are causing a public nuisance right now. First of all, you're blocking up traffic. You should have seen how the traffic was on my block. Nobody could go anywhere. They had to go down to another block, then go to another busy street. They couldn't go back to the busy street that's north of us, right? Because the police blocked that off like, we're not letting anybody else back in this subdivision. You all got to get out. Go out the other way. And they were defiant. They would argue with the police officers, trying to cuss at them, trying to argue with the people that stepped outside, at least to say, get off my lawn or go do something else. They were very defiant. Here's the thing. I understand that, and I can agree that Johnson, Brandon Johnson, Mayor Johnson, that he has taxed everything. Now you can't go to the beach for free and have fun. Now you get local parks that are closed. That is all. I'm with you on that one. But why did all? Well, I know that with him it's money because he's trying to save some money or make some money, turn over revenue. But also, there is a why as to why these kids can't be out that late because they can't act right. It goes back to them. It goes back to parenting also. It goes back to them. They talking about they don't have no outlet. They talking about we need resources. We need jobs. Okay, some of these kids are getting summer jobs. They're working during the daytime, nighttime. What do we do as adults? I work all day. Friday night comes. I want to go out and party. I want to go ahead and get dressed. They're doing the same thing. But Joe, if you got anything you want to say, go ahead.
Now, look, I don't think there's a problem with kids having parties, even big ones. I don't have a problem. And we have them down here in Texas. Sometimes they're on a block. Sometimes it's a park. Sometimes it could be a field somewhere. But every time as a police officer, I've rolled up on that, they scatter like ants. I don't have to convince them to leave. They know the party's over when the police show up, right? You hit the lights. That's typically what you let them do. Just let them go. Let them go. Anybody that sticks around, we'll start pulling IDs. But, you say you can't go to the park because they close at dark. Why? Why are they closing your parks at dark?
Well,
because they're not safe. Because the bullshit going on.
People don't know how to act. Yeah.
Well, really what that kid's saying is that they've eliminated all the places it's easy to just forget to go act like a fool. Now we've got to travel long distances to go act like a fool. But acting like a fool is going to be part of it. No matter where I go, I'm going to act like a fool. And
I don't think
you can't say it enough that parents are responsible for this. They are the ones that raised them children or failed to raise their children to understand how to act and how to be respectful when parents aren't around. You can't get me off of that.
Well, Joe, like I've been saying, a lot of these people are not children. These are grown people.
They're easy. You jail them. It's easy. They go to jail.
And so that's why I don't think that the what you call it? I don't think that the park should close at dusk because people are acting up. I think that those who are acting up need to be removed from the society. Everybody doesn't have to suffer because we have people who don't know how to act. If you don't want to act right, that's fine. You just can't come over here anymore. Even up here at Garfield Park, they have like half of the park locked off. There's one way in, one way out, and the park closes at dusk because adults are out there acting a fool. All that stuff that you saw at Club 290, just in front of that lady's house, she said a lot of them looks underage. Did anybody peep the white children in the videos? Because white children from the suburbs are coming to this too. Okay, shout out to all of them who took the metro to come hang out. Everybody wants to come on the west side of Chicago and live out all their ghetto fantasies. And I don't understand why you had the little boy out there with the fake rifle. You got the white boys out there, they posing, taking pictures, going live, TikTok. I'm on the west side of Chicago. I'm in the hood. Phone them, right? I get it. I promise you, I've been a child before. Corey, you laughing because you know it's the truth. You lived in Maywood, so you know people want to come to the West Side and live out all their ghetto fantasies, right? I get it. I promise you, I get it. However, there's a limit to that. And there are consequences for living out those ghetto fantasies. So even that child having that replica rifle out there, baby, that's a crime in the paddy wagon. You want to come out here to the party and hold your rifle and look like you a killer and all that. Okay, we're going to take your toy rifle with the little orange tip, and now you're going to go in this paddy wagon. Your mom's going to have to pick you up from the other side of town. Every single infraction has to be enforced. Punishment for those infractions must be enforced. That's the only way, because the more punishment we take away, and then we're doing more social, emotional, and feelings and restorative, blah, 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 blah. It's getting worse, worse, and worse, and worse, and worse. So what's the solution if not to punish them?
Well, yes, I think that there's a multitude of things. I think one solution is we have an inept government here in Illinois. We have a government that cannot at least govern or at least enforce anything, and everything has to be touched with kid gloves. That's one of the problems, that we want to take this loving approach. This what did Mayor Johnson say? We can't call them baby Capones. Nobody called them baby Capones, but they're a nuisance. They're doing stuff on purpose to actually incite. Right? Why is this not being addressed? And then when you bring the kids in, of course they're gonna tell you, yeah, we need this, we need that, but they just want something to go party. I get it. You want an outlet. You want to do all these different things, but there's a certain level. I knew even in my teenage years that You just don't go tear up other people's shit. First and foremost, even if you
Exactly.
But where'd you learn that?
from
Did
my
you learn it from
mother.
the city of fucking Chicago, or you learned it from your
No,
parents?
I
Right.
learned it from my
Hey,
mother.
I've got
I
to
was gonna
call.
ask.
I've got to call it early. I've got to call it early, and I apologize. But I want to say something on that kid's interview. Like, well, there's just a few of us troublemakers, and they're punishing all of us. You guys in Illinois should look at your gun laws the same way. Very few guns are used for illegal purposes compared to all the other guns that are owned. So why is it okay to take a right, a constitutional right from you and punish the mass, but let's don't do it to kids when they want to go out and act like a fool at a park or a street? I just thought that was interesting for you folks in Illinois. But good to see you, P. Ray. Anything I can do for you, you know, I'm just a text or a phone call away. And Corey Brooks.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm definitely going to use that language and go down and start pushing for curfew enforcement. So thank you so much.
And Corey, were you able to get your goldfish fed with the salmon?
What?
Oh, you hadn't seen the cartoon that I'm putting out about your show? There are people that tuned in to see you talk about your goldfish.
That clip was funny. That
was
dude
funny.
he's always funny. Ace Vane is always funny. That clip was funny.
No, it was hilarious. Somebody was asking me about what's Corey's show about. I said, well, here's a clip. Here's a clip from last week's show. Join in.
I gotta feed my goldfish with the salmon flakes. What?
that chick said, only thing you'd do is come over and catch an L for that L in salmon is silent. I love you guys. I'll for sure catch you next week. I've got to bounce out. Good to see you, P. Ray.
Go ahead.
See you, love. Love you too.
But yeah, yeah,
Yes.
P. Ray. I mean,
I'm here.
it's a complicated situation, but
Hello?
oh yes, can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Hello?
Can you hear me? I don't think P. Ray can hear me.
I can't
Go
hear
ahead,
you.
Drop. Just drop. If you can see me, go ahead, drop.
Nope.
And then
Hold
come back.
on.
All right, while she's doing that, I mean, there's a multitude of things that you have to look at. There's a multitude of things that you have to look at, and there's no one solution for these problems. Yes, do I think these kids need something to do? Yes, do I think the parents need to keep them busy? Right? Yes, I can agree with that. But it boils down to the fact that it's just not. Some of these kids don't want to do right. But go ahead, P. Ray. You got anything you want to say?
I just want to say God bless Chicago and spank bad children. Okay. Gentle parenting is killing America, killing the world. We need to go back to 1994 type parenting. When they still had that old school people from the 30s in your life who used to make big switches and stuff. We thought that all of them were engaged in levels of child abuse, but we saw a much more polite and decent society. So I'm not saying abuse your children, but make sure they are punished and they understand right from wrong, because if not, they will become a degenerate and we're going to have to remove them from the society.
Mm-hmm. All right, P. Ray. I'm gonna get ready to close this up, but I want to kind of. It may be a long monologue. If you want to stay around for it, stay around for it. But I want to say something about this. A lady put a post up on Facebook, and I don't want to put her name out there and whatnot. I think she just want to find a solution, but I do find a few flaws in what she's saying. Long post. A concerned mother of a black teen boy. Last night there was another teen takeover in South Suburb. As the mother of a 16-year-old black son, last night was one of those moments that reminded me how quickly things can change. Parents, we have to know what our kids are doing, where they are, and who they're with. My son showed me the party invitation earlier in the day. Honestly, it looked like a nightclub flyer. Every invitation they send around seems to BYOB. A late start time, pictures of girls barely dressed. Then we act surprised when hundreds of teenagers showed up. If you advertise a club atmosphere, don't be surprised when the club shows up. But parents, we aren't checking the invitation before It goes out. What 16-year-old and their parent is advertising BYOB? Last night, when I looked at my son's location, it was bouncing all over the street in South Suburb. For about 5 minutes, I immediately FaceTimed him. Bring that ass here, boy. He laughed, but he already knew I wasn't playing. He knew I had warned him about this. His safety will always outweigh whether he thinks I'm doing too much. But the more I thought about it, I realized this is bigger than one party, one teenager. Our teenagers are living in a fun desert. The mall has restrictions. Movies have restrictions. Jump parks have restrictions. So many places either don't allow large groups of teens or require parents to stay. That wasn't our teenage experience in the early 2000s. We had kickbacks at the park. We grilled at friends' homes. We played basketball until the lights came on. Water balloon fights, bonfires, movie nights. We cruised around, laughed, and just existed without everything turning into chaos. Now we're seeing hundreds of kids gathered in one place, police trying to regain control, fireworks being thrown, businesses disrupted, neighborhoods overwhelmed, and parents rushing to figure out if their child is okay. Somewhere along the way, we've confused freedom with the lack of accountability. This isn't about controlling our teenagers, it's about protecting them. My son's friends already know my house is always open. Come over, play the game, empty my pantry, sit in the backyard, watch movies, invite your friends. I'd much rather have a loud house full of teenagers than get a phone call that something happened because everybody assumed someone else was watching. And maybe that's part of the answer. More parents opening their homes, more neighborhood cookouts, more basketball tournaments, more water fights, more movie nights, more spaces where teenagers can actually be teenagers with adults close enough to step in if something goes left. We can't complain about the teen takeovers. We have to help create better alternatives. Our kids deserve real summers, not police lights. So happy my baby and his friends got home, and so thankful for the South Suburb Police for allowing the party initially and keeping things peaceful, then shutting it down when it became a larger situation and dangerous. You have anything to say about that, P. Ray?
I totally agree. I absolutely agree. Teenagers deserve to have fun. Grease, the movie Grease was about a teenage street party. The movie Crybaby was about a teenage street party. So they've been doing this for a very long time. Happy Days, remember the show Happy Days that came on
Mm-hmm.
Nick at Night? That was, supposed to be in the 50s, and the Fonz was throwing street parties. So all of this is new. I mean, isn't new. What is new is the disrespect, and I'm really gonna push for this Respect Chicago campaign. Respect
Okay.
Chicago on multiple levels. Respect us and our city and the American people who live here. I'm looking forward to this. I think this is gonna be nice. I try to, I'm always trying to be positive and solution driven. But yeah, something has got to give. And like I said, we don't want everybody to, have dogs chasing them at the mall. But
Exactly.
if my baby come home and tell me a dog was chasing her at the mall, my first question is going to be why. And I think that we need to really start asking why these things are happening and telling our children that accountability is not a bad thing. Today I went to a community meeting, and this woman, and I'll wrap it up here. She's in her 70s. She's been running this large organization for a number of years. And she told us how her grandson, who we all know and love dearly, was arrested yesterday because he was on the green line and he pulled out a beer and opened his beer and started drinking it. And they arrested him and locked him up for drinking on the train. And how she thought that she said, and they just trying to lock us up. That's not bad and blah, blah, blah. And I'm sitting there thinking, no, baby, you're not supposed to drink on the train. Who?
Mhm.
This is
Whether,
not
whether, whether,
okay.
whether it's not bad, is it the law? And if you don't like the law,
It's,
change it.
and if you know, but even beyond that, you're not supposed to drink on the train. Okay, you just don't do that out of normal decency. You don't drink on the train, you don't smoke on the train, you don't do drugs on the train. This is a public space, and you engaging in those things is impeding on other people's freedom in this space. So we need to really stop coddling debauchery in our society. Once we really pull that together, everything will be fine. But in the meantime, in between time, if we continue to have a class of people who find pleasure in people who find pleasure in victimizing villains, they are the real villains of this story.
Yep.
Because
You
we
could
can
have
talk about the kids, huh?
said it better. Victimizing the villains. Which is
Victimizing the villains. And there's a whole group of people totally dedicated to doing that. Those people are the problem. So rather than me looking at the babies and the young people and even the old grown people that's out there at Club 290, I'm telling you, they out there right now, okay, getting it in exactly how they want to. And that's their business. But the people who will come and say, leave them alone, we don't want them over police. If they do curfew, that's going to be stop and frisk, and that's just going to blah, 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 blah. Weed is legal now in Illinois. So if they catch you with weed, it's not like you're going to jail. That's why they wanted to get rid of stop and frisk, because so many people were carrying weed. But now that it's legal, we can go back and start stopping people and asking them for their IDs. This is the United States of America. So I say that to say, get rid of the people who find pleasure in victimizing villains, and the society will improve. Thank you for having me, baby.
no problem, B Ray. I wanna say something to this post that I just read, and I think everybody heard it, everybody hears me. But I want to point out the contradiction in this. She's talking about her 16-year-old son, and she saw the flyer. She said it in a statement that she saw the flyer, and you did nothing about it. I Some of the solutions that you came up with were great, right? That you can invite them kids over to your house, that they can have a fun time, that they can, have water fights, they can at least have fun around your house. You can safeguard that situation. I don't disagree with that. But this is one of the problems that, with her contradiction. You sat there and said you seen the flyer. Did you see the flyer afterwards, before? Because it seemed like you seen the flyer and you knew that your son was going to this party. And this party says BYOB. And it makes it seem like it's at a club, right? So you let your 16-year-old go to a club. You let your 16-year-old go to a party where it's BYOB. You didn't invite your 16-year-old son and his friends over to your house, and don't do that. Nope, don't go over there. No, you let your son go. You let your son go because you didn't pay attention to all of the signs. I know if my son was 16 years old, which I'm glad and grateful that they're grown up. But if I know my son was 16 years old, he's not going to a party where they say BYOB. First of all, you're 16 years old. You're not supposed to be drinking in the first place. My daughter, right? I love my daughter dearly, but I remember she tried to get too big for her britches. She was about 13, 14 years old. And she wanted to go kick it with some kids that was older, and they wanted to drink. And they put her on Snapchat because they didn't think the old man would find out. But guess what? The old man found out, and the old man checked that situation. And if you do that, and she didn't do it again, I can guarantee you that one. But if you do that shit again, next time some fists are gonna fly. Nope, I'm not condoning on beating your child, beating your daughter, anything else. But I'll tell you what, you want to defy me, you're gonna take me back to the old me. Because now I've already set the parameter, and you already know what the consequences are. Right? I don't care how old you are. But if you want to get that whooping, guess what? You're gonna get that whooping. But back to the statement at hand. Parents, you are responsible for your children in every facet of it. Yes, they become teenagers. They don't want to be around you. They don't want you hovering over them. They don't want you in all of their business. They have their own business. They're 16, they're 17. They thinking they grown. They smell themselves. They thinking they're acting like grown adults. Yeah, you can say all of that. It's hard. It's not easy being a parent, especially when you got one parent in the household. I understand that. I'm not here to jump down someone's life choices. But guess what? You're still in charge. You don't know where your child is at? Yes, you should be fined. That's, in a way, that's child neglect. It's child abuse. If you don't if your child is out there causing a ruckus, breaking up cars, breaking into cars, all of that stuff, you need to be held accountable. It sucks. And I still struggle with the fact, that, you tried everything that you could, and the state has to step in and, take care of your child. In a sense, one side of me says this is another sense of government control, of government reliance, or the government come and fix it when you can fix it in your own household. But the sucky part about it is we, the people out here in the neighborhoods, we have to deal with your child because your child is running wild. And so don't get mad when you see how the people take appropriate actions to make sure your child gets back in line. P. Ray did bring something up earlier to where they have closed the parks. They have closed the pay to park at the beaches, right? Even more, a 16-year-old, 17-year-old, 18-year-old, well, 18 is grown, but 16, 17, should you really be out at them times? We all know that the freaks come out at night, and I know they use that in different terminology, but what I'm saying is weird people, crazies, the criminals that come out at night. You want to be around that? You want to be around that element? You see, we've made it too cool. We've made it very cool in America to be around the criminals, to be like the criminals. We idolize the criminals until you got to do some criminal time. Everybody wants to be a G till you got to do some G time. I think that needs to be brought back. I'm not saying you got to go to jail for years because you partied and stepped on someone's car, broke their window, but someone has to pay that back. Someone has to pay for that. I guarantee you, if your parents have to start paying for the damages that you all have caused, some heads are going to roll. Right? I will hope that we would get it together. I will hope that we would find some solutions. I hope that we can find something for these children to be busy with, or to stay busy. I will hope that. And I hope that we do. But this is also a bigger picture, is that we have an inept government here in Chicago, Cook County, and Illinois. That is a show on, but I'm going to try and touch on it. We have a Mayor Johnson that will defy the police department or defy the police. We have a Governor J.B. Pritzker that wants to be president, and he wants to do everything he can to be president. So he wants to give the villains the victimization card, as P. Ray said earlier. So this is what I mean by inept government. They will not take the actions that are appropriate to actually fix the situation, mitigate the situation, or anything else. Look at Chicago City Council, and I think that was Alderman Lopez. She looked like she's with all of that. You want to come up with a summer program? What about when they go home? I remember when back before I even wanted to start my organization, I started with my friend, and I said, we need something to actually, teach young men to be men and young ladies to be young ladies. Just, mentorship. He said, that's good and dandy. That's great. He said, you're going to teach them all different things, but they still got to go back home to their parents. And he was right. So that means if the parents are not doing what they're supposed to do, then the state is going to step in and do what they want to. Thank you all. See you all next Thursday. You may see me this weekend. So I think I got a hot button issue that needs to be talked about. You may see me this weekend. Thank you for everyone that tuned in on Facebook, YouTube, X, Instagram. I can't thank y'all enough. The channel is growing a little bit. I'm not saying it, but I really want to talk with people that want to talk with people that want to be solution based. And this may be a little contentious. It may piss you off a little bit. Because there may be some people that come on here that you may not like, but you need to hear their voice. You need to hear what the other side says. Until then, You all stay safe, stay vigilant, and have a good weekend. I'm out.
They frame me in a picture, Sharpie horns on my head, every rumor like a scripture, they repeat what they were fed. Yeah, I'm walking through the whisper, let them burn me in their tails. I keep receipts in my ribcage, every scar, every DD. Call me the villain, paint me in black, blame every crack in your heart on my back. But when the curtains falling and every mask is gone,